This is a long requested video on how to figure out if she has a high body count. Well, for starters, you'll never actually know. You'll never actually really know what her body count is. And we know that women are going to lie about that if their body count, in fact, is high, because they get condemned by society. Not only do they get condemned by men, and men will probably stay away from them or stay away from taking them serious, other women condemn women for a high body count also. So you'll never really actually know, but there are a lot of indicators that maybe can suggest that maybe she does have a high body count. For starters, when you're talking to these girls, you want to be non-judgmental, right? You being non-judgmental allows them and makes them think that it's a safe place for them to talk about anything. So, when you're on a date, when you're talking on the phone, they'll be like, oh, I hate girls with high body counts. All right, damn, I want my girl loyal, super loyal, this and that. Obviously, nobody wants a disloyal person. I think that's a given. That's not something that needs to be discussed. But what being non-judgmental does, it allows them to expose themselves, right? So if you're, say, for example, if you're talking to her and you're like, yeah, I try not to be too judgmental. I try to be open and understanding to everybody, and you can touch on very sensitive topics, right? But you want to bring up topics that will almost create the narrative, be like, a lot of my friends are like super judgmental, or a lot of people that I know are super judgmental with girls, but especially like with the high body count thing, right? You can be like, well, it really doesn't matter to me. Obviously, like, if somebody has less sexual experience, that's cool. But if she does have a high body count, I really don't care, right? I really don't care, because I'm not going to be judging. Like, that doesn't make her a bad person. That doesn't make her a non-loyal girl. So, it really doesn't matter to me. And I really try not to judge. Now, you also want to like have those sexual conversations. But how she responds to that is, when you create this narrative that you're not a judgmental person and it's a safe place and it doesn't matter what your body count is, how she responds is a strong indicator for where she stands. For example, let me check out this damn gum. Sorry. For example, if she says that, oh, well, I think you're right, it shouldn't matter. Like, only thing you should focus on is personality and this, that, and the third. And then she doesn't proceed to disclose her body count. She's one of those people who have a high body count. Because in my experience, and even watching interviews, girls that I speak to personally, even when you come to find out their body count eventually, like, I speak to friends, I speak to people that know her, and then she was like, yeah, she's been with mad people, bro. She's had more boyfriends than I can count. Those girls usually have a high body count, and they want you to focus more on the non-judgmental phase. So this way they can, they can sway you and have you more on their side and more in their favor. And this way, if their body count isn't disclosed, they won't feel as judged, right? And now the girl with the low body count, she's not going to exactly keep that so much. The girl with the low body count is probably going to say, well, yeah, you shouldn't be so judgmental. I agree, but my body count is like that. Or some girls would just straight up say it. I only have 5 bodies. I only have 3, 4 bodies, 2 bodies. Like, the girls that are proud about that, they will talk about that and they will say it straight up. Now, some girls are going to lie, but the girls that are true to that, they are going to say that, well, this is what I've been. And you ask them, usually the girls with those types of body count usually have boyfriends or like one guy in between. And they'll talk about that, like, yeah, I was with this guy. And I'm like, oh, okay. And if the narrative and the story stays the same when you ask them questions over time, like over the course of 2 or 3 months, 4 months, 5 months. And so another reason why I say don't wife girls right away, because you don't really know them too well. You don't know what you're getting into. So make sure you have those conversations. And another thing is, when you're having like those sexual conversations, like, oh, what's the craziest thing you ever did? This is a judgment-free zone. Don't worry. You can tell me anything. I'm not going to judge you. Like, I think anything is cool, Obviously, everything is not cool, but this is what you're going to tell her. And if she says, oh, I had a threesome, I was like, you ever had a threesome? Or she says, I had a threesome. Oh, okay, cool. That's freaky. You know, you real freaky, huh? That's what's up. You can be like, was it like with 2 girls or 2 guys? Did you have fun? Like, how was it? Like, you know, especially if you never had a threesome, but like, tell me, how was it? Like, how was the experience? And if she tells you that she has sex with 2 guys, obviously that's not a threesome. That's a train. Right? But if she says, oh, I had sex with 2 guys at once, don't be like, oh, damn, or get silent. Like, oh my God, really? Like, how was it? Like how that work out? Like, did you like give one head and one had sex with you? Like, how'd that work exactly? Like, tell me about that. And seem open to it. And she sees if you're receptive to it and you're not being so judgmental, she's going to tell you, and she's just going to speak because she thinks it's a safe place. But actually what she's doing is she's exposing herself. You know, she's exposing herself, and she's letting you know that you can't wife this girl. And remember, the study shows on psychologicalscience.com, they show, I think r.org, whatever it is, they show these studies that women with high body counts usually aren't as successful in relationships. They usually can't keep long-term relationships, right? They're usually not really good with that stuff. They usually can't allow themselves to stay long-term in those relationships. Right? And they almost lose something. Men can come back from it. That's what the study shows, but women can't. And the proof is in the pudding. So you want to stay away from these women that have high body counts. Also ask them about their relationships. Oh, how about this boyfriend? Or how many boyfriends do you think you had since you ever first started dating? And that's another kid. She's like, oh, I had 5, 6, 7, 8 boyfriends. Even 4 or 5 boyfriends is still a lot, because those are just boyfriends that they most likely had sex with. What about all the guys that they weren't boyfriends and didn't just have sex with? Right? So there were other guys that they just didn't have sex with, that they just had sex with, that weren't their boyfriends. You know, so these are things to take into account. You know, like J. Cole said, if you said wherever she says her body count is, you got to multiply by 3, right? So these are just some things to indicate her and to just draw a conclusion. And also ask her, another thing is, how long do your relationships last? That's another thing. Ask them how long their relationships last. If their relationships never last long, well, hello, this isn't good. Because for some reason, she can't have a long-lasting relationship. And you can't be everybody's fault that none of your relationships last long. At some point, she has to take accountability, and they might not, but you throw that into consideration. I'm telling you, don't wife these girls. And another thing is, you guys don't care, and you have no type of filtering mechanism when it comes to wifing girls like this. You just accept them how they are. And then when you run into problems in your relationship and you're trying to figure out and wonder why it's like this, this is the reason why. This is the reason why. Because you just accept anything. And that's the problem. Don't accept anything and have standards.